Hi everyone, this is Stephanie coming to you from Atlanta, and this is Module 5, our video assignment, and this is viral media and memes. So the commercial video campaign that I selected is probably one you've heard of before, and one I believe I tweeted on or posted on our, with the hashtag on our Twitter account, and that is the Old Spice video campaign. Now, I've known Old Spice all my life. My dad taught youth Sunday school classes when I was young, and he seemed to always get this for Christmas from his students. And quite frankly, he hated it because he said it smelled of old man. And so there were always the little white bottles with the sailboats in the back of her bathroom closet because he refused to use it, and eventually I guess my mother would throw them away. So I always knew this brand as something that smelled of old man that my father refused to use. And I guess that's the image most people had of it. So what's a company to do, right? Well, in reading our if our reading this week, if it doesn't spread, it's dead. In there, there was a quote from media scholar Mark Pesce, and he said that a company has to deal with the world as it is, not as we'd like it to be. And that's what Old Spice did. Um, Quite honestly, they looked at their brand and they looked at the older generation. They looked that they were commonly thought of as something from an older generation, and they developed a clever Super Bowl commercial that would take them into the next into the next decade, I suppose, and took them from this to this. The man your man could smell like. The other tagline was "Smell like a man, man." And we went to the silky tones, a man's man who spoke directly to the ladies. Of course, ladies who make most of the purchases. Um, there was no mistake in that. And this is still ranked as one of the 10 best Super Bowl ads of all time, according to Mashable.com. It's a very traditional media format for a company to go after. It starred former pro football player Isaiah Mustafa. He became known as the Man. He was launching his acting career. This is still what he's best known for. And originally, he was intended only to advertise this one line, which was called the Red Zone After Hours Body Wash. Obviously, the red zone was why they tagged it into football. But it was so successful and effective that they took this a lot further than they ever really intended. And boy, did they. It advertised many different product lines, had lots of imitators. We're going to talk about all that. And used it a lot of different ways. They've used it in a lot of different medias. As I said, they launched it with traditional media, very, very traditional media, television ad, very expensive television ad. But they also took a real risk and did a marathon 3-day online community project with Mustafa in his own bathroom, a pretty low expense exchange between him and the audience. And they did it through a number of different social networking sites, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Dig. He responded personally to 186 online comments and requests. He did some goofy stuff. He beat a pirate pinata with a fish because someone asked him to. He helped someone propose online. And when Alyssa Milano tweeted something about how cool it was, what they were doing, they seized on that and responded back in a video post. And before it was over with, Alyssa Milano was responding back in her own video post, wrapped in a towel in her own bathroom. So it was a pretty entertaining exchange piece. If you've never seen any of those posts, you should take a minute and look those up on YouTube. It's a very clever set of exchanges. For 24 hours, it was the most YouTube channel for the day. First 24 hours, 16,000 views in the first day. 36 hours after the first replies went live, they had combined viewership of more than 23 million. So they definitely had the spread on that. And Reddit later even took it so far as to make a downloadable voicemail message using Mustafa's voice. It was becoming that popular. So they took it a step further, even beyond the 3-day marathon, and took Fabio, the romance novel cover star with the long flowing hair, who actually must have a really good sense of who he is, because he made big time fun of himself in this ad campaign, and challenged the old Spice Man, so he could be the new Spice Man. And they basically responded to people's posts again. That was exactly what they were doing, and the public voted on who was doing it best. But the public also got to vote on the outcome or the content of their battle and made suggestions about what that looked like. In fact, suggested that they travel through time. And a lot of that was done on green screen, but and the production values of this was much higher than the first 3-day online project, but it was still pretty neat that a company like Procter and Gamble was willing to allow that to occur without control over content. I mentioned rate of spread already, but it's still impressive numbers. Going back to the 2010 Super Bowl commercial, they had 220,000 views within the first couple of hours of the Super Bowl online, and then added 100,000 views every few hours after that. The 3-day marathon, the first 2 days of the online video response, they had 11 million video views, 29,000 new Facebook fans, and 58,000 new Twitter followers. So again, very impressive on the rate of spread. And Professor Hong said during her lecture this week that obviously the highest form of flattery is imitation, and there are a ton of parodies online, some of which are obscene, and I cannot show you because it involves a shower. But some of these are really clever how they're done. The Brigham Young University Library Study Like a Scholar is very clever. And then Sesame Street got into the act with Smell Like a Monster, which was really funny. And the one that you should really take a look at was Puss in Boots, which was the sequel to Shrek. Did their whole trailer for the movie exactly like the original commercial. So you should click on that link sometime and take a look at that. That's really kind of fun. So did it work? Adweek said it did. With the 2 TV spots and the online response videos, the sales went up 107%. But not only did it pay off in sales, but I would say it paid off in brand recognition, because Old Spice was able to shift itself from this old man in the sea image to this fun, lively, engaging the audience brand, which was one of the things we read about when it comes to spreadable media. They really gave over control of content a lot too, which was they were able to draw and engage the audience in a lot of ways, and they did a lot right here. So it was pretty impressive when you look at it. And if you want to really get some more in-depth look at what they did right, this Inc.com article really gets into marketing lessons that we can take home from Old Spice. It gets into brand loyalty and perception of the brand and how they changed that, and ways of interacting with the brand. All of those things that were mentioned in the reading this week were also brought up about benefits of spreadable media. And we read that in if it doesn't spread, it's dead. It's also cited in this article, so you might want to take a look at that when you can. So the organic video that I selected to discuss with you guys was the Talking Twin Babies. And what's interesting about this is that it was posted by their dad, on February 14th in 2011. He just uploaded this video of his twin sons because these two boys were babbling incoherently to each other, and it looked like for all the world that they were understanding each other and carrying on a conversation. And it's adorable. They're standing there, they're interacting with each other and very animated. One has a sock off. It's just as cute as it can be. It went quickly into mainstream media. because some suggested that these boys were doing what's called symptophasia, which is they had made up their own language and they were actually understanding each other. It's not unheard of, but it's a language that twins often develop at a young age that only they can understand. And so they started making appearances on Good Morning America and the Today Show. New York Times did articles on them, CNN. About this because, you know, eventually they were going to start really talking and that was going to mess things up. But then that only lasted a day or two. What really started happening with this video was people started trying to translate them or putting their own, gee, I wonder what they're saying. Here I know. And there are some things out there that are not, not the cleanest things in the world. But this one, I just found this one that says you're only a minute older than me, you know. But there's the link here at the bottom, and if you click on it, it takes you to Ellen, the Ellen Show, which she translated the 2-minute video, saying that that they were really conspiring to do an April Fool's joke. So that really took off. That gave the video a second life, which was everybody translating what the kids were saying. So that took it to 54 million views in 10 months. You see, it started out slow and then it really accelerated. And it hit the front page of Reddit by March 28th, which was about a month after it was posted. And then on April 3rd, I mean, there was all kinds of crazy stuff. And by the way, the little boys' names are Sam and Ran. By April, it was out there, and it's waned off. By December, it was really spiking again. A lot of it is from people making their own translations of what the kids were saying. The mom also has her own blog called Twin Mama Rama. That's another media outlet that follows the boys in their development. The mom is also a twin, and so she's really interested in how twins develop and communicate. So there's more here than meets the eye. But they made the rounds in traditional media and then had a second life on the web with people doing their own translations and parodies. Now, again, there's a lot of parodies out there. There's a lot of grown men in diapers with beers standing in front of refrigerators. But there's also a lot of twins out there doing their own parodies. These are grown twins. And if you click on this link, it'll take you to these men who say, we don't understand why this is so popular, because my twin and I have been communicating like this for years, and this is a pretty funny one if you get a chance to look at it. So did it work? And that's a more difficult question to answer when it comes to organic memes and videos, because there was really no intent at the outset to make money or change a brand in the case of Old Spice, advance a brand or anything like that here. This was truly a dad just posting an amazing video of his own children who he was very proud of, and I can relate to that. I've looked at the website. The mom is not trying to sell t-shirts or videos or any, they don't have a reality show. There's no intent here for them to capitalize on it. There's nothing mentioned on the website. She's truly interested in the development of twins. There is advertising on her website for other brands, but she's a mommy blogger, pure and simple. Most of the stuff on the site right now is about the new sister there and the buggy and how they terrorize Trader Joe's these days. So the parodies continue a little bit about translating what the boys were saying to each other. But that appears to have been their 15 minutes of fame. So did it work for them? I guess it did for what they intended. So that's it for this week. I'll see you guys on Twitter, and I guess I'll see you next week. Thanks. Please comment on my stuff. I'd love to hear from you guys, okay? Thanks.